All right, we are back in action. This is the 4th van build series video. We are just stopping by our storage unit to grab some of our camping gear. Yes, we do have a storage unit. We will show you. It's here in San Diego, which by the way is where my parents live, and that's where we're doing our builds. A lot of you asked that. So here we go.
Yep, let's go. Size of a big closet. We're here picking up some camping gear for Sarah's sister who's going camping this weekend. And here it is. Not exactly huge and not exactly organized, but it works. Starting the day with the usual run to Home Depot. Got a few materials that we're taking back, some extra furring strips, and this barnwood material we got to try on the ceiling, but Sarah doesn't actually like it. So. Alright, so today spent part of the day going getting materials, part of the day getting the garage cleaned up so that I could fit all the plywood in it, and so that we have more working space. Most of you are probably building your vans out in a driveway or a garage-ish, just like we are, so it is important to make sure that you actually have room so you're not trying to pull your materials in and out of your van every time that you want to get started for the day or when you're cleaning up. Today I spent the majority of the day working on the bathroom, getting this framed out with the steel studs. And so I have our shower pan right here. So I was using the shower pan to set and make lines and marks for exactly where I needed to lay out the studs. And then I started by laying out my studs on the floor first and then building up. In a van, nothing is really level, nothing is really square, so if you're measuring, always measure off of a midline, snap a midline on the floor, and have a midline on the ceiling so that you know exactly what to measure from. Because if you measure from the wall, depending on where you're measuring from, you could be like 3 inches different depending on what part of the van. And so having a midline makes it really easy to be able to make things square and straight. And then one of the cool things about the way that we do our bathroom, we actually cantilever the toilet over the shower pan. And so you can see there's this little bit of dead space in the back, and that is where the shower is going to stop and the toilet is going to extend all the way to this far wall. So basically right here, 2 inches or 4 inches past that, that's how far our toilet is going to come into the shower pan. And then we're getting another self-cleaning Nautilus shower door, and that has a cassette that's about 4 inches wide, and so that's why we cut that 4 inches short. So then that'll make up and pretty much cover the entire cantilever toilet. Unlike last time, we had a little bit more hanging out. So yeah, it's been a good day. I was just reading the comments on last week's video. Apparently everybody thinks we should paint our van black between the windows on the passenger side.
No.
Kind of having trouble right now.
Pizza, beer. I got some Boochcraft.
Yeah, I don't think we should paint it. I like it.
I agree. Are you happy?
So happy. Thank you.
Pizza and beer diet.
So one of the challenges as you start building out your van, if you are going to build a van, is you're going to realize really quick that the walls don't run straight up and down. But you don't just want to drop a line from the, the furthest point in on the ceiling all the way down. Otherwise, we'd lose like 6 inches in our bathroom by doing that. So what I've done instead, using these steel studs, is you can see I've cut the stud right here and actually folded it over on itself. So it still maintains the strength of the stud, and then I've done it again further down here as well. Now, what that allows me to do is to run along the naturally straightest, longest parts of the van wall. So it's basically 3 sections, but I also have to keep in mind that when I come to put my hardy board backer up so that we could tile, I'm going to have to do 3 different sections of hardy board because I have 3 different angles now. But this really helps save, just by doing this cut here towards the top, I save myself about 2.5 inches at shoulder height in the shower, which is huge when you have big shoulders like me. If not, that would be in another 2.5 inches. And then compared to that cut here, again, I've saved probably like 6.5, 8 inches on the total width of the shower. we built this back panel to make the most out of the space that's in the van, like we talked about earlier. So you can see we've got the 3 cuts in the stud so that it runs on the 3 straightest parts of the van sidewall. And then because we did that, we also had to have a place on each of those angles that we could attach the hardy board at the top and at the bottom. So we've got top, bottom for this section. Then we have the cut, top, center support, and then bottom, another cut, top, center support, and bottom. So the hardy board has plenty of places to attach. And I'm going to be running another vertical stud on each of these spots where we cut them off so that we have support for the edge of the hardy board the whole way.
Hello, my name is Nugget. I was here to give you the tour. So my dad's been working very hard. If you look over here, he's been putting up plywood on the outside of the bathroom, which he framed. And if you look up there, that's just the ceiling, but there's not really a ceiling yet.
Nug, look this way.
Yes?
You just got to be on camera.
Oh, so scared. Nice tour guide. Welcome to our home. This is YouTube Cribs. My name is Nuggy G.
These are the screws that we've been using to put all of the steel studs together, and then even attaching the plywood. These zip-ins, they work amazing.
Don't use anything else.
And then for the furring strips to go into the frame, that's what we use.
You
They're all gone.
pre-drill.
Yes.
And then you use these number 8 1.5" stainless so that they don't rust.
Yep. So those are what we use to attach the furring strips. And then again, this is what we used for all of the steel studs and channels and attaching the plywood to that. So you'll see right in here, that's one of these. So for all of you who wondered, that is what we do. And yes, pre-drill when you're drilling into the frame of the van. Pre-drill these, then screw it in.
All right, pretty good day. Today's Sunday. I had a pretty productive one. Had to, of course, do the usual trip to Home Depot to get some supplies. Had to get some more furring strips that we're going to run horizontally down the van to actually set. They're going to be one of the main cleats for our upper cabinets, both at the top and the bottom, so I had to go pick those up. Also some wider common boards, some 1x6 and 1x8 for capping either side of these windows. And plumbing materials, because now we get into the plumbing phase. So we got the majority of the bathroom, the exterior shell put on this week, just like we did here on these back benches, just using 1/2" birch plywood, which works really great. I wouldn't recommend going any thinner than 1/2" because you do want it to be durable, but you're saving on weight compared to something like 3/4". And so part of that process was making sure that I had the plumbing set so that when we put that exterior shell on, I wouldn't have to go back and cut holes into it later. And so I figured out how I was going to run my plumbing from this compartment over here, which is where we're going to have a 23-gallon freshwater tank, to then run it to the bathroom, where we're going to have our shower on the driver's side, you know, the front side of the van. On that wall is where we're going to have our mixer and our shower head. So I picked up a few things at Home Depot today. On the last build, I used a combination of PEX or PEX, which is what this is, blue for cold water, red for hot, and 3/8 inch in 1/2" interior diameter nylon braided hose with barb fittings. And then obviously you always have to have like some 3/4 inch or 1/2" threaded male and female. When I hooked up my water the first time to the pump and had it all running, the only place that I had leaks was actually where I used the 1/2" interior diameter nylon braided hose coming together with the barbed fittings. And so this time around I decided to use PEX for both my cold and my hot water lines. So I picked up this blue today, And because of the way that we are framing with metal studs, sometimes I have to cut those metal studs to make an area for the water line to go through. And so where I'm doing that, I'm actually also using 3/4 inch PVC just as a sleeve for this PEX, just to make sure that as this is rubbing or bumping against, you know, one of those furring strips, or sorry, the metal studs as we're going down the road, that it doesn't actually cut and puncture and cause, you know, a bigger issue down the road. So just a little bit of 3/4 inch PVC for that. And then these are the PEX fittings. So these are shark bite. You got a couple different options, but shark bite is what I used last time that worked really well. And so you literally just push this in here. I'm not going to do it now because they're a pain in the ass to undo. But it's like a pressure fit. So you put it in and then it's watertight from there. So it's really easy to use. I'm going to go through a lot of elbows on this project, but totally worth it. They are a little bit more expensive. It's like 35 bucks for 4 of these elbows. So that's like where the majority of the plumbing cost is going to come into place. Today we are working on the layout and drawing up some plans for our kitchen area, as well as our closet area, and over here on top of our dresser we're going to do a little built-in storage area where we previously had windows. Sarah is so happy that she gets to finally start throwing white paint on wood.
That's right.
Woohoo! So she's working on painting the outside walls of the bathroom right now. And then she's also been working on painting some tongue and groove for the side walls. Been working on like some different looks, more of a distressed look. We're not quite sure what we're gonna do with the ceiling, so she was testing some out for how we could possibly do on the ceiling. Today is Monday. Productive day.
And Mabry even said we're way further along this time.
It's true, Jeff did say that. I kind of reframed around the windows a little bit today so that we could actually run our cedar tongue and groove all the way around them. And yeah, making progress. Woohoo! Right, good morning everybody. So today is Tuesday, which is going to be the last day on the van build in this video, because starting tomorrow we're actually going to be taking Wednesdays off of the build so that we can focus on our business and computer work and touch base with people that we're working with, editing video content, editing photos, all of that fun stuff that we still have to do on a weekly basis in order to keep the business that we run online moving forward. So today we've got a few goals. We are going to be cutting the plywood backer. We're going to be using 1/4 inch plywood on the back of our upper cabinets. So we're going to be working on getting that cut today. Our batteries, we already have from Battleborn Batteries. Huge thanks to those guys for hooking that up. We should have our 3rd battery showing up today. And also our inverter charger is supposed to be shipping, I think, either today or tomorrow, so that we can configure our electrical area over in this compartment. We're also waiting on some tanks to show up so that we can continue working on our plumbing. Tom, Sarah's dad, my father-in-law, is going to be helping us with laying out some of the cabinets, like our dresser and our kitchen today, so that we can start getting those built outside of the van using 3/4 inch ply, so that eventually we can just put those right into the van completed. So lots to knock off the list today. It's going to be a hot one here in San Diego. It's like 80 degrees yesterday. It's probably going to be about the same today. So going to try and get as much done as we can early. We might have a few friends that we work with online stopping by later this afternoon. And it is Tuesday, which usually means Taco Tuesdays with our buddy Scott at Comes With You. So we'll see if we're going to meet up with him later this evening. So here we go.
Just got 1/4 inch ply up where the uppers are going to be. Getting ready to build those today. Prime bathroom yesterday.
Using table saw.
Stuff is coming together, guys. Very exciting.
Right, it is Wednesday. We actually ended up doing some work this morning on the van, getting ready to wrap up now so that we can get ready for some business work that we have to take care of this afternoon. Because again, we do run an online business at the same time that we are doing this van build out. So we have to definitely be cognizant of our time management. But this morning we made some big progress on the upper cabinets. Tom, Sarah's dad, has been working on putting a template together so that now we can go ahead and get the upper cabinets built and then go ahead and install them directly into where they're going to be. And so they'll all be ready to go. And it's just literally stick them up there on some cleats and screw them in. and then we'll just do the face frames and the doors later on down the line. But what that will allow me to do is finish some of our electrical that we are wiring in the upper cabinets, like our 12-volt box, mount our solar controller. Illumines is getting us on their production list to get our solar clamps made, so we're excited. So then we can mount our solar and finish running the majority of the electrical. We do have our Battleborn batteries. Big shout out and thank you to those guys for being a part of this build. They're mailing our inverter. Right now we're doing a 3,000 watt Victron inverter charger, and so once we have that, I'll actually be able to complete the entire electrical system once we have the solar up and we have the inverter in place. Now, when you are buying these, all these different components, it's really important to look at the size and how much size and space they're going to take up in the different compartments that you're building out. And so for me right now, I'm kind of on a holding pattern until I really get the inverter charger here and can really get a firm idea of the dimensions of it and how it's all going to wire with my batteries before I can finish off the water compartment for the kitchen, which is going to be just in front of our electronic compartment on the passenger side. On the driver's side bed compartment, we did get our water tank for that, so we're really excited to get that installed and start doing some plumbing next week. So again, I'm using the PEX and I'm using a little bit of braided nylon hose just because around the actual pump, you don't want any rigid plumbing connected directly to the pump. You do want to use that braided nylon hose for both your connection going in and coming out of the pump. We have our 2.5 gallon on-demand hot water heater on the way as well. Tom's working on the layout for our dresser and for the kitchen area. We came up with a lot of different layout options this week, and I think we finalized on what exactly it is that those two areas are going to look like. So we're making really great progress. Really excited about where the build is so far. I think we've got about 4 weeks left. That's our goal. So this is the top and the bottom of our lower cabinets. So the more narrow section, that's going to be over the kitchen and over the dresser. So we kick that in a little bit so that we don't bump our heads into it. And then the wider section is going to be in the back over the bed and the table area.
Officially have the first cabinet built. So this is actually the back of the cabinet. This will go up against the wall that we put up in there. And so then we'll build out some face frames and put some doors on it, but we've got pretty much a full cabinet ready. And as you can see, this is the more shallow side, so it's not as deep. And that's for over the countertops, so you don't bash your head, right, babe?
Yeah.
So
it is Friday morning, just got the upper cabinet up on the driver's side. Now we are taking a break and I'm going golfing. And when you come home from golfing on your day playing hooky from your van build and you have your inverter, your toilet, and another lithium battery waiting for you. Sweet. Another productive day on the van build. Gonna wrap it up there and head in so that I can edit this video and get it up for all of you on YouTube. Again, if you have questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments down below. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe and follow along next week as we get our electrical and plumbing all dialed in. See you guys.